Good morning, everybody. We are live on Thrive, and today we are focusing on the shadow. So embracing your shadow and finding the gift within helps us find the balance, which allows us to have all the qualities in a healthy way. Because once you see the gift within your shadow and you no longer judge yourself for that shadow transforms and you find balance and wholeness. Good morning, everybody. We are live back on Thrive, and today we are focusing on the shadow. So many of you have asked me about the shadow and how it can transform your life, understanding what the shadow is. And so today, that is exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be chatting to you about discover your shadow. How do we do that? Own the shadow, and then how do we transform that shadow into a gift? So stay tuned. I see a lot of you are logging in on Instagram already. Welcome, guys. Where in the world are you coming from? I know that some of you are coming from Cape Town, from London. Where else in the world? I love having, Nigeria, so many wonderful people. It's so great to have you guys with me today. Please do let me know where you're coming from so that I can welcome you properly. And I will be doing a Q&A at the end of today. So you can ask me any questions that do come up. I see that people are also tuning in on Facebook. Welcome to you guys as well. There is a slight delay always with Facebook, but I will be checking your comments to make sure that we are all connected. So what I thought I would do today is I would actually play you a little video from Debbie Ford. Now, I started working with Debbie Ford's work in 2004. 14, so 6 years ago now, and it has completely transformed the way that I looked at things. If you think about shadow effect and you think about the fourth dimension is all about duality. So it's all about the fact that in order to feel happy, we need to have known pain. In order to really achieve success, we need to have gone through struggle. That is fourth dimensional ways of being. That's fourth dimensional consciousness. And what Debbie Ford is I really believe she was a pioneer and a leader in helping transform that into a place of balance and wholeness, so that we could start the shift going into the fifth dimension. And so that's why this is so important. This work is so important because so many of us judge ourselves, don't we? It comes from early when we are children, and our mom or our dad says, don't be a glutton when you want to have 3 slices of cake instead of just 1, or when you are deciding to sing and dance really loud and be the fully expressed little being that you are, and you're constantly being told to be quiet, you will start thinking that there's something wrong with fully expressing yourself. And so all of these things kind of creep in. See that lots more are waving and coming in. I do see all of you. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you guys tuning in today and joining in. The reason why I do this session is because I truly believe that the point of being here for all of us is to learn to love not only our family and our friends and our communities, but to love ourselves and wholly accept ourselves. Because at the end of the day, it all starts with us. That's where the journey starts. If you want to see the world change yourself. That's been repeated by wise teachers and souls throughout the ages, hasn't it? And it's because it's a truth. They say a cliche is a truth that's been told over and over again until it becomes a cliche. So let's delve into the shadow effect. Let's start with discovering what your shadow is. Do you all know what your shadow is? Your shadow is the aspects of yourself that you are embarrassed about, the aspects of yourself that you feel ashamed about, the aspects of yourself that you try and hide from the outside world. That is your shadow. And the problem is that if you have a shadow, which all of us do, and you're constantly trying to hide it, it builds up anxiety, depression, feelings of inadequacy, feelings of guilt. Can any of you relate to what I'm saying? I'm sure that you can. Please give me a thumbs up or a yes. You know, the little emoji with the guy or the girl putting their hand up, just so that I know that you guys are following with me right now. But the shadow are the aspects of yourself that you would rather not show to the world, the aspects of yourself that you don't want anybody else to see. That is your shadow. The best way to discover what your shadow is actually to start with your light. And that sounds like going backwards, but trust me, it will work as a process. So what I invite you guys to do is write down 3 qualities that you love, respect, and or like about yourself. And I know that this can be really awkward for some people, and I know it can be really difficult for some people, but just trust me, nobody's going to see them. You're all on your own. Write down 3 qualities that you like, admire, or celebrate about yourself. And I remember when I first started doing this exercise, I couldn't even write down one. I was like, there's nothing about myself. I was in that dark pit of despair. And I was like, there's nothing I love about myself. And I had to really cultivate it and really dig deep. Now I can write a long list. But it does still take some thought, to write it down. So what I said is that mine are kind, generous, and that I am a nurturer. Maybe I should say, because I've got a good sense of humor. I do have a good sense of humor. So let's say that, because that will be quite different from being kind and generous. It's a completely different example, isn't it? So have you guys got 3 examples that you have written down? Give me a thumbs up so that I know that we're all in the same place together. Yes? Great. Okay, I see hearts coming up. Good. Fantastic. So now let's start with generous. Now, the reason why I think that where my generosity was probably born out of in reality, and I don't remember the actual moment, but was a moment where I witnessed someone being miserly or myself being miserly. What is the opposite of every single one of your words? So the opposite of generous would be miserly, somebody who holds on to things, right? Somebody who doesn't share and doesn't give their things away. That's miserly, right? What is the opposite of kind? It would be cruel. What is the opposite of a good sense of humor? For me, that would be cold. Being cold would be the opposite. Those are the first words that come to mind straight away. So think about that. What are your opposites, and write them down next to them. Once you've written them down, you need to think about this, and this is going to be difficult. Where in your life have you felt those opposites? So where in your life have you felt the dark side, not the light side, but the dark side? So I know with miserly, for instance, I have sometimes, I go to, there's some delicious piece of something and I just want to eat it. And then someone comes along and a little part in me goes, I don't want to share this. I want to eat it all by myself. And then I go, Susanna, don't be like that. And I feel guilty and I share it, So, but But that's what happens with me sometimes. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen that I sometimes don't want to share. I sometimes want something all for myself. Can anybody relate to that? That feeling of like not wanting to just share this one thing. Can I just have this one thing? And the reality is there's that little miserly thing that comes up. And what's happened is over the years, I placed so much judgment on myself for not wanting to share, for feeling like, how dare I not want to share what I have? That is so selfish and unkind, and all of these things that were placed upon me. The reality is that I give too much. So I actually am in constant balance of trying to find that middle ground of going, okay, I'm going to share, but this I need to keep for myself because it's important to also look after me. Because if you are so generous that you just empty yourself the whole time, you're going to have nothing left to fuel yourself up. And if you've got nothing left to fuel yourself up, you're going to burn out, you're going to become a mess. And these are the things that will happen. So having that little bit of miserliness, having that other side to balance you out and finding the center and finding the space to kind of go, okay, it's okay for me to say no, and it's okay for me to have things just for me. That's important. Does this make sense to you guys? Are you following what I'm saying? I'll give you another example, kind. So I'm very kind. So I tend to be very, very kind. But the reality is that if you're too kind all of the time, then you don't have very good boundaries because you're a bit of a people pleaser, right? So you start doing things that are not actually in your comfort zone. They're not actually serving you because you're just people pleasing and you don't know how to say no. So my opposite to kind was being a bitch. And I thought, I never want to be thought of as a bitch. I never want to be thought of as someone like that. That's terrible. But the reality is that when you are that person, they actually are more in power with themselves and they have better boundaries. And so they know how to say no. And it doesn't mean that it comes from a bad place. It just means that healthy boundaries are being experienced. Guys, are you following this? Yes, I'm getting thumbs up. True. Good. I agree 100%. Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. I'm so glad. So now, can you see that by identifying your light, identifying the opposite of your light, and then identifying the gift, that you transform that shadow into light? Because once you see the gift within your shadow and you no longer judge yourself for that shadow transforms and you find balance and wholeness, which is the whole point. No more duality, balance, centeredness, and wholeness. I hope this is making sense to you guys because it is really, really, really important. I've got quite a few notes here, so I just want to go through them and make sure that I'm covering absolutely everything. So embracing your shadow and finding the gift within helps us find the balance, which allows us to have all the qualities in a healthy way. So that's what I just said. So just to recap that, make sure that you guys are hearing it and embracing it fully. Now, remember, this is very important, that the universe's highest goal, guys, is to help you heal, is to help you become whole. And so one of the other ways that you will be able to identify your shadow is when you see it in somebody else. So think about in your day-to-day life, when you're looking out into the world, what really bugs you, what really, really bugs you. Find that and start owning it within you, because it does exist within you as well. Like, I thought abuse, I was like, abusive? I'm not abusive. Are you crazy? And then I figured out that I was massively abusive to myself. So it's not necessarily that you're doing it to someone else, but very often you're doing the shadow stuff to yourself. You are not serving yourself. We so often serve others way before we actually serve ourselves. This is very, very important, guys. It's very, very transformative work, because once we bring that shadow to light, it transforms into light. So people, circumstances, situations will arrive in order for you to see your shadow. Humans only suffer because we resist where we are going and where we are growing. When we accept everything fully, when we find the gifts, the suffering ends. And I know that in my life, I have experienced that to be very, very true. When we are trying to fight what we are, when we don't embrace who we are, when we are trying to fight the situation that we have found ourselves in, that is when things become difficult and challenging. But when we go, okay, I'm going to stop. This is where I am. This is the situation that I'm in. What are the gifts? How can I transform it into something that serves me? That's when the suffering ends and everything shifts. And there is always a gift, always, 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 without exception. Remember, love is the superpower that transforms everything. So approach everything with love. I see that there's questions coming through, and I did say that I would do a Q&A. So you're welcome to send some questions through now. If there's anything that was unclear, if there's anything you want me to explain a little bit more, please let me know. If your shadow is not good enough, what is the positive? Ego. You know, if you think that you're not good enough, what is the opposite of not being good enough? It's being enough. But if you think that you are too amazing and over the top and better than everybody else, then that is going to take you out of balance. So having the balance of understanding that you are good enough and being humble within that, that's the balance in the middle. Jill, let me know if that helps and if that answers your question. Yes, Ingrid is saying, yes, I've experienced that. That which bothered me in others, I have that trait as well. Exactly, Ingrid. Absolutely, exactly. So when we spot that trait in somebody else, you know, when somebody is being impatient or whatever it is, like you spot it and you go, okay, that's really annoying. But then you can stop and go, I can be impatient sometimes. I have been impatient many times. And then you find compassion for that person and it neutralizes that that thing that is irking you. It neutralizes that. So I hope that makes sense, guys. Let me know if there are any more questions. So Jill says, makes sense. It's a common trait with people. Yes, Jill, I agree. It is a common trait with people. So many people don't feel good enough. But I also feel like the reason why so many people don't feel good enough is because they haven't fully embraced their shadow. Because the feeling of not feeling good enough comes from not accepting parts of yourself, not finding gifts in parts of yourself. Because once we accept all the aspects of ourselves, then we know that, sorry, there's a fly that's flown into my water and I have to save it. I know that's really random, but I must just get it out. Okay. Sorry about that. So once we embrace all of those aspects of ourselves, we will feel good enough. Does that make sense, Jill? Let me know if that makes sense, because it's only by denying ourselves that we don't feel good enough. And we all battle with it on so many levels. Okay, Jill is coming back saying, so true. Debbie says she's moved over to Facebook, which is perfect. I'm going to go into the meditation in just a minute, but I want to know if you guys found this helpful. Absolutely. Okay, great. I'm so glad. There is a wonderful book called The Shadow Effect or The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. There's two different ones. Debbie Ford was an incredible woman. And boy, did she have demons like all the rest of us. She had a huge shadow self. She was an addict. And in a moment of that moment, that darkest moment where she fell on her knees and she prayed, she had a revelation and her whole life changed around and she became a real light worker. And she's written beautiful books and she's worked with Marianne Williamson and Deepak Chopra and really done some incredible transformative work, which I believe, I mean, looking back now at the work, because I did a little bit of a recap before today, I believe was preparing us for moving into this fifth dimensional reality. So I highly recommend you go and check it out. I will pop a link in the description section on Facebook so that you guys can find that book and you can purchase it. I know a lot of people are still on lockdown, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it on Audible as well. And I know that you can buy the DVD. It's an interactive DVD, which takes you through the processes as well. And it's really, really, really brilliant. So I highly, highly, highly recommend doing the work. It is difficult because it's very challenging to look at yourself and embrace the parts of yourself that you didn't want anybody else to see. But even if you do 3 a day, guys, that is my invitation to you. Do 3 a day, every day. Write down 3 things you love about yourself, acknowledge about yourself, celebrate about yourself. This is a good act in itself. This is a good thing to do, good habit to create, is to learn how to love and acknowledge yourself for yourself, for you being you. So do that and then delve into the work and transform those. So find the opposite and then find the gift in the opposite. Because that's where the real work of transformation will happen. So that is my invitation to all of you guys. I can see the name of the book is The Dark Side of the Light Chasers or The Shadow Effect. There's 2 different ones. There's also the DVD version of The Shadow Effect, not of The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. So you guys can check that out. It is 1 minute to 11. And as you guys know, 11 o'clock a.m. GMT plus 2 is the time that the most people in the world are awake at the same time. And so to honor them, I howl and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that all of you will join me. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So to all of you who are doing essential work to keep this world going, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. And now I am going to play you a meditation. We are on day 8 of our meditation, and I'm going to find something for you to look at that isn't me. And because my screen share is not working, I'm going to bring that thing to you, and it is going to be my Buddha. So if you can all find a comfortable position to sit in, make sure you have no distractions. We're going to do the meditation now.
Welcome to day 8. Welcome to our second week of the Chopra Center 21-day meditation challenge. This week you will learn how to attract greater abundance by applying the laws from my book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, to your life. Today, we'll focus on the first law, the law of pure potentiality, which asserts that in our essential state, we are pure consciousness, pure potentiality, and the field of all possibilities. When you discover your true nature and know who you really are, you experience pure being. and stand fearless in the face of any challenge. In this state, you're anchored in the unlimited and eternal power of the self, which draws people, situations, and circumstances to you to help support your deepest desires. Engaged in our daily activities, we sometimes hear thoughts and opinions, often expressed as fact, that do not reflect our divine essence. For instance, we may hear news that good jobs are scarce, the global financial picture is bleak, or the world's resources are rapidly dwindling. It's important to note that such statements are not universal truths. Instead, they represent a collective consciousness that projects an overarching sense of scarcity and the false illusion of competition. With so much negativity going around us, how then do we discover that deepest part of ourselves? Coming into silence, we are able to tune into ourselves and embrace our inner knowing. Aligned with spirit or our higher self, we quiet the chatter and negativity of our three-dimensional world and tap into our unlimited power. Here, in the stillness, we experience our inner essence, which ultimately helps us manifest our heartfelt needs and desires. Spending time each day to silently commune with nature and witnessing its perfect intelligence will also allow us to connect with higher consciousness. And yet, another way to achieve inner calm is to release the need to judge and evaluate people and circumstances as good or bad, right or wrong. When we judge people and events in our lives, we create turbulence that gets in the way of our connecting with the higher self. Relinquishing this need will enable us to find that place of deep stillness. To put the law of pure potentiality into practice today, commit to spending some time in silence and nature. Free yourself from the need to judge people or situations. Say to yourself, today, I will judge nothing that occurs. And periodically remind yourself of that commitment. Now let's prepare for meditation, allowing this message to settle into your consciousness. Through the law of pure potentiality, I can create anything, anytime, anywhere. Through the law of pure potentiality, I can create anything, anytime, anywhere. Now let's begin. Please find a comfortable position, placing your hands lightly in your lap and closing your eyes. In this moment, go within to that place of inner quiet where we experience our connection to the higher self. Let go of all thoughts and begin to observe the inflow and outflow of your breath. With each inhalation and exhalation, allow yourself to become more relaxed, more comfortable, more at peace. Now, gently introduce the Sanskrit mantra for the law of pure potentiality, repeating it mentally and allowing it to flow with effortless ease. Om Bhavam Namah. Om Bhavam Namah. I am absolute existence. I am a field of all possibilities. Om Bhavam Namah. Whenever you find yourself distracted by thoughts, sensations in your body, or noises in the environment, simply return your attention to mentally repeating the mantra. Om Bhavam Namah. Please continue with your meditation. I'll mind the time, and at the end you'll hear me ring a soft bell to indicate it's time to release the mantra. Om Bhavam Namah. Om Bhavam Namah. It's time to release the mantra. Please bring your awareness back into your body. Take a moment to rest, inhaling and exhaling slowly and deeply. When you feel ready, gently open your eyes. As you continue with your day, carry the sense of abundance with you, reminding yourself of today's centering thought. Through the law of pure potentiality, I can create anything, anytime, anywhere. Through the law of pure potentiality, I can create anything, anytime, anywhere. Through the law of pure potentiality, I can create anything, anytime.
Welcome back into
anywhere.
the room, everybody. It is so great to have you with me. I see lots of hearts flying up, which is great. It means that you enjoyed it. I do highly recommend you look at Deepak Chopra's work, his beautiful different selections of meditations. He's got so many that are really aimed at whatever it is that you are specifically working on. I see lots of hearts, more hearts. That's wonderful. Namaste to you all. I don't know if all of you know what namaste means, but it means that the divinity, the light, the love, the God within me recognizes the light and love and God within you. So I just want to also talk, just round up the shadow work that we were doing. My generosity, I've constantly got to watch it because I end up overgiving and I end up depleting myself. And it was so interesting because I've been telling everybody to, go inward and meditate and be with yourselves, which I've been doing a lot of, trust me. But last week I just had this feeling. I mean, I wasn't feeling well already, but I just had this feeling that I needed to just stop and just take care of me. And so I did. And that's also something that's okay. I know that I promise to come live to you guys every day. And I know that I'm always promoting the 4 agreements, be integral with your word, but it's okay to admit when you can't, when you've exhausted yourself, and you can go, guys, I'm so sorry. Please understand this is where I'm at. I'm doing the best I can. And it's amazing, the response, because everybody just came back and sent me well wishes and said that they hope to see me again soon. And it's like the universe just sent their angels to look after me, because I've just been spoiled. So spoiled. My lovely man, my human, came home with roses and flowers, which was so nice. And then Healing Earth sent me the most amazing package of things, all self-love, self-care things. And I have to actually thank them on this platform, because this is not a paid partnership or anything like that, but they are the most luxurious, divine things. And you can see I've just put that candle over there. I've run out of candles, and I had actually said to the universe, I need candles, but I can't find where to buy candles at the moment. And they sent me a candle, which was so lovely, and it smells marula and neroli. This is a body balm, and it's like the most nourishing oil. I put it on this morning again, and I had a bath in the bath salts on Saturday night. It was divine. And then to top it all off, on the glass, and I actually need to ask them, it has one of my favorite quotes. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same, which Nelson Mandela made famous, but it's actually a quote by Marianne Williamson. And I love that quote so much. So I highly recommend you check out Healing Earth if you're needing a pamper, if you're needing something divine and nourishing. I feel very nourished. So thank you very much for that care package, guys. I really, really do appreciate it. And then not needing to cook is another great way of I love cooking. I actually love it. It's one of my favorite things to watch someone you care about or people you care about eating food that you've created. And I suppose that's the giving part of me. Like, I love seeing the expressions on their faces and them enjoying food. It's so wonderful. But every once in a while, you don't feel like cooking. And I was so thrilled when the Kitchen Collective, who I've gone to their cooking school so many times, they are amazing chefs, and Denise and Kim, and they've partnered with Uber Eats. And so you can get chef-made, homemade, cooked meals from Uber Eats. And I got a whole bunch of things last night. The mushroom risotto was delicious. So if you're wanting to give yourselves a little bit of a break and a little bit of a pamper, I highly recommend diving into Uber Eats and getting some Kitchen Collective. They've got a divine menu, and some Healing Earth, just absolute quality, nourishing, luxurious. That's the word that just constantly comes into my mind. Luxurious, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things. So take some time out to do something kind for yourself, to do something that nourishes and serves you. You are worth it. You deserve it. So please do it. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Much love and light to you all. Bye for now.